Hello, good morning. How are you all doing today? We are continuing to work on the diesel rust course and specifically inserting into the database. If I remember correctly, we got some species inserted for a pet store, and next up is pets, which, if I remember correctly, is only one difference here. So let's jump into it. All right, so let's move on to creating a new pet. I guess like the pets table. Okay, so with the only difference being that we okay, so we need the species ID for the pet. So we do need to get the species, don't we? So we need to query for all the species to display the IDs. Yeah, to display the IDs to the user. Query for all the species to display the IDs to the user. Esetsu, hello. How are you doing today? So we need query for all the species to display the IDs to the user. I feel like we should really be doing the gets first then with this. Diablo, cat. You want cat? We can do cat. I know where he is. He's downstairs looking out the window. I also need to like eventually move the heater up here because it is, it's still technically fall, but it's feeling like winter outside with several inches of snow on the ground. You're waiting patiently for an important delivery tomorrow. Well, that's a lot of waiting to do. Is it a fun delivery too? Because fun, important deliveries are good. WTF? Oh right, Colorado. Yeah, it's the snow started yesterday, and today was supposed to be the last day, but we just got a winter storm warning through Friday. The Notch book arrives. Did you tell us about the Notch book before? I don't remember. That sounds familiar though. Um, but all right, I can go grab Cat and bring him up here, and we'll see if he wants to hang out a little bit more. I also have a little bit of food, so he might enjoy that. So, we still have how much time before the next ad? It's a while. Friend of mine grew up in Vermont, now lives in Colorado. He told me when it started, asked if there was snow here. In Emmy is Missouri, right? Not in this stream, but I did mention I'm finally getting your first Apple Silicon Mac. Oh yeah, you mentioned that somewhere. I do remember. Maine. Okay. Dang it. Sorry about that. Shows my geography is way bad. We have over 15 minutes before the next. No snow here yet. Oh really? I would have expected snow. Like I would have expected northeast to get snow first before us, but no, we're having a winter snowstorm. It is currently 27 degrees Fahrenheit, which if you think that that's okay temperature, that is cold as heck. Anyways, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go grab Zilby for you, Diablo. we are back with Cat. Oh, he's getting distracted by his own tail now. Also, Cat. Yeah, exactly. Are you gonna purr or just slow blink? Your battery will explode any day. I don't need a heater when it's compiling. My keys aren't working and my touch bar is flickering. It is time. Oh, that is very timely. You got a touch bar, Mac? Ye have no brain cells. His royal fluffiness. Yeah, he is going back and forth between alert and sleepy time. He's on that edge of purring too, where his like breathing is sort of like the style of purring, but no purrs, and his tail is going a little bit. Okay, let's put you down. You want to look out the window? I'll give you a treat. Okay. No, you don't want to stay there. I try to bribe him with a treat to stay up at the window. Hi, you want to come up here? You had a cat that would do that all the time. It was very special if you could hear it. Yeah, I I can't. I can eventually hear like the sort of it's a weird sound when it happens. Also had another that also purred no matter what, even in his sleep, very loud. Oh, interesting. Yeah, he can purr really loud, but he doesn't often purr too loud. All right. Well, he noticed that my door is somewhat semi closed for warmth, and that's got he'll be upset. You know, closed doors and cats. They don't get along. It's not a fully closed door, so he has the ability to open it if he really wanted to. Okay, let's continue on with this. The pets table is almost the same as species, with the only difference being that we need the species ID for the pet. So we need a query for all the species to display the IDs to the user. So okay, so we need a query for all the species to display the IDs to the user. This is almost making you think maybe we should like just put everything together, and that means we do the read in here too. Okay, so if I were to do that and sort of like to change this, I don't know. I'll change the title later. I'm not 100% sure yet. So if I do something like we are now getting all species. Okay, so in the not there. Diesel course. You are not that. I want. What is this? So it says in bin. No, this is the assessment. I want you. Oh, that's why. That's okay. I was already selected on here and I do an alt left arrow and it took me into here and I didn't notice. That's what's going on. Okay, so create the species. Okay, yeah. So we want to create pets now too. So source. Oh, your cat would just sit in your lap and just happily vibrate, begging for pets. Zilby is not like that. He's not a lap cat. He enjoys cuddles. He enjoys pets, but on his own terms. So if he wants to sit on you, he will choose the time. And if you try to get him to sit on you, or if you move an inch when he's sitting on you, he's like, nope, 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 I'm out of here. And then he'll leave. Which sucks when like overnight he'll be like, okay, I'm cold. I'm gonna go like sit on top of you because you're warm, or I'm gonna go beg to come under the blanket. And then he's like there and it's great. He's purring super loud. He's happy. But if you move, he's like, well, this is a betrayal, and then leaves. So let's call this, we're going to call this create pets. You've had several cats that were 100% lap cats. At least one would be sleeping in a chair. I would pick up because I wanted to sit in a chair and then just place them on my lap and they just curl up and go back to sleep. Nice. So Zilby curls up pretty much when he's feeling cold or not like super safe. But then if he's warm at all, he stretches while he sleeps. And he's a stretchy cat. Like he feels like, I don't know, he's that wide when he stretches out. Like other cats I've ever been at like don't feel like they stretch at all. So yeah, he can almost reach the doorknobs from the ground if he stretches like to his utmost. And he tries. He taps them because he thinks that like maybe that's what you get to open the door when it's locked. I've also had several that understood what bedtime was, and as soon as anyone went to bed, they'd crawl right under the sheets. Problem, one thermally challenged would do this in 90-degree summer heat before I owned an air conditioner. I could not convince him this was a bad idea. He didn't care. Oh no, yeah. I learned that cats don't their fur doesn't really protect them from the cold very much. The cats are desert animals. At least most of them are desert animals from ancient times, and so therefore their fur is really to protect them from the sun more than the cold. So that's why they get cold so easily, and that's why they don't like get like double, like most of them don't get like these double or really like thick coats like dogs do. Okay, so main function main. Okay, so we want to show off. Let's first start with use prelude star. We want to show all the species, right? So we will use so actually I would love to say, okay, can I actually just say species from the schema. Okay, species DSL. Yeah, okay. So we definitely need to do the gets first. So I kind of want to switch over to it because I don't know if I'm going to change anything that I have from here. So let's go ahead and save you. And we need read all first. So that's what we're going to work on to begin with. Oh my God, my Dweezil, he weighed north of 20 pounds. He wasn't overweight. He was just big, not even tall or long, just scaled up. He was from a litter of kittens from a mama cat that just showed up one day. None of the other kittens were as big as him, all normal sized. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never had gigantic cats. Zilby is a 10-pounder. We keep him between 9 and 10 pounds. Well, no, we keep him between 9 and 11 pounds as much as possible. And he definitely stays in there. He's unhappy that he doesn't get food all the time, but he's definitely not overweight. The vet was very surprised and's like, oh man, it's so nice to see a cat that's not overweight come in. He could almost reach kitchen counters by stretching. He'd swat whatever he could reach. When you're trying to put the cat food in a bowl in the morning, I think I have a scar on your elbow from him. That is a long cat. That's longer than Zilby. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So I want to touch. This is gonna be Diesel get all. Okay, so getting all items with Diesel. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, we will be able to get, let's see, we want to get I just want to get enlist everything. So get all or get query for all. Query all items from the database with a Diesel model. And that's kind of it, right? Okay, so we want, okay, so if we want to model the Diesel tutorial, they do show, and I don't see a reason why not to do something like that. So let's do touch show show species, something like that. Because then in create pets, we'll just say hey, run show species to actually show that. Yeah, you missed them all. They're all good cats. All cats are good cats, I think. Although I've never truly had a cat from hell. Hi, you wanna come back here? He's in between my keyboard. I think he remembers that I gave him a treat, and now he's like, well, this is where the treats are, right? And no, the treats are not here, so he's out of here. Okay. He did move my mouse around though. Okay, so what were we working on? We were to show species. Let's open this up, and it's actually okay. There we go. We have this. Okay, so let's have our content, and we're gonna begin with the bin. So what would this be? This would be like the setup. So setting up the bin command. Okay, so because this is where we're starting off, I might be able to take a bunch from here. Yeah, for this lesson, we're going to create a new bin command for inserting. There's going to be a lot of changes we want to do for this. Okay, so we'll be setting up a bin command. Your void cat understood how to sit on my lap and let me use the computer. He'd plunk his ass on my lap and then stretch out so his head was on my shoulder. Then I leaned back slightly so he could just sleep there while I was gaming or working or whatever. Nice. Yeah, Zilby does not do that. Every once in a while, he will sort of like sit there and curl up, and then he moves around a lot. He doesn't like to lay in one spot for too long unless he's sleeping deeply. He'll be like, okay, I'm good, then get up, turn around, sit back down again, and he likes stability, and we humans aren't stable enough for him. Okay, we'll be setting up a bin command for we set up a bin command for showing all pets and species. Since we've already seeded the database, we won't need to worry about creating a new species just yet. Okay, so in the source directory of our project, we'll create a bin directory and a file named show species. Let's see. Files inside the bin directory are special. Rust assumes or cargo assumes. Okay, so cargo assumes that they will be called with the cargo run bin like show species command, and therefore they are somewhat like the like examples. they need a main function. So then this can be source bin show species. I wish I could move these. That would be really nice. If I can like take a tab and move that, but I don't think I can do that. Yeah, in this tab thing, there's no move for the tab, which is a little bit unfortunate. Okay, so it's going to show species. We'll have a function main, and it's pretty simple, right? I guess before I even do that, let's do. Okay, so they need a main function. Since we also need a. Okay, so since we also need, what am I thinking? Words today aren't as easy as yesterday were. I got enough sleep. I don't know what that's about. Maybe I'm just like I'm restless because I haven't been able to go outside for a few days. Okay, so since we also need a database connection, we'll add in the boilerplate for getting the database URL, environment variable, connecting to the database, and I think that's it. And connecting to the database. Okay, so that brings us to here. So we want to .env Okay, so we have that. Connect the database. Did we end up creating connect to the database in like? No, we did not. Now in run migrations, run seeds, since we need to connect to the database in multiple places, I'm thinking that we put this into the library file. Or we just throw this in here. So if we do, okay, so okay, since we'll need a database connection, we'll add in a boilerplate for getting the database environment variable. In another bin command, we've already connected to the database, but we can't access code from another bin command. Okay, so we'll be using the error crate for handling the errors. So the error crate. So now let's switch over to lib and then add this in. So we have pub function. Let's just do connect to DB. We'll take in the database URL, which is a stir, and we'll return a result, which is going to be an error result with the PG connection. Okay, and this is pretty simple. We just do PG connection, establish database URL, context, and we'll say connecting to database. And then that's it. Okay, so notice that we're converting the result type from the establish function. I guess, here, hold on. Before I do that, let's actually put the code in here. Okay, so note that we're have we mentioned context before in this? Hold on. No, we haven't mentioned context at all. So note that we're converting the result type from the establish method to the error result via the context method. You're the opposite of me. You have stuff you need to do outside, but haven't. I need a shovel outside, and I haven't done that yet. We have 24 hours generally from when the snow happens to when we have to do the shoveling. Although I've never gotten a ticket from not doing it, but I generally try to stay on top of it because, you know, there are some people with wheelchairs that, you know, need to get around, and, you know, if they have to get around in this snow, I would rather them not get stuck out in front of our house. And but that being said, here in Colorado, the snow on pavement tends to go away really fast. So sometimes I just sort of wait for like a couple hours to see like, hey, is it gonna like just stick to everything but the sidewalk? Because sometimes that's what happened yesterday. We got lucky. And note that we're converting the result type from the establish method to the error result via the context method. This will give us some nice error, sort of like a nice, an additional to the trace, like, because it's not like a trace itself. Some nice contextual messages if we run in to any errors. All right. Kukma, hello. Yeah, the sun is technically out, but it's behind all this the clouds, so it's just getting brighter. Okay, so Kukma, I think the database URL is a bad naming. Like if what to use more than one database in your project, which database URL, like PostgreSQL, Mongo, Oracle, or something. Yeah, So I totally get what you're saying, and like what Diablo is saying, in most projects, I don't think that we need to have more than one database attached to like a project. If you do need a whole bunch of databases together, you like there's a couple different architectural decisions to go with. One is you can do a sort of like a micro API on top of each database, and then you call each database. That's sort of like following the 7-factor app that Amazon invented a while back. That's where using HTTP requests for everything and for all communication, kind of sort of like microservices before microservices became a thing. Another way is that you have like you might have like a main database, and then you have like other sort of like lesser like other databases. The reason why we're using database URL here is because it's the default that Diesel looks for, and you have to do some configuration changes if you want to use anything else. That's one of the side effects of using an ORM like this, is that it makes assumptions about your environment. Like your database URL is an environment variable named database URL. So, and yeah, I agree with that too. Don't architecture something in before you need it. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not flexible in the fact that what I would do is I would probably choose whatever the main database is for the project, and that's the one that gets database URL. But then after that, it's everything that they're like, oh, we need to add this in. That's at the point where I would say like, okay, can I change this to a different variable name? And if I can't, then everything else now needs to have its own, or we do microservice projects for those databases. Yeah. It like in the end it comes down to it depends, because even something that like, oh, we need to have like a Redis or the new equivalent, because Redis is nobody likes Redis anymore. And I forget what the new open source version is. Uh everybody we want to have that plus like maybe a Mongo store or a cache with something else. Then it's like, okay, well let's figure that out. Yeah, I know. Lol Redis. Uh, Takatao. Hello. How are you doing today? Believe it or not, writing raw SQL is much easier than using an ORM like CORM. I don't know about Diesel. I kind of agree. I personally like raw SQL. So I'm a big fan of SQLX Rust. Postgres is a replacement for all for all the other databases. I mean, so like I can see the argument for that, but at the same time I can also see an argument for, well, what if you want a different database just to be sending to different things? And different use cases, or you're hammering the Postgres database, um, or you want even like an architecture where you have like a a cache. Like the Postgres database is shared by like 3 or 4 different horizontally scaled servers, but then each server gets its own cache. Then you wouldn't be using that one same Postgres for the cache too. You would be they would get their own databases then. So lots of different possibilities for how to architect this. Caching is its own sort of hell, though you have to be careful with that. Yeah. ORM should make things easier for us, but I don't think it's true for Rust ORMs. Writing raw SQL using SQLX is much easier. Yeah, I have noticed that Rust ORMs are a little bit harder to sort of wrap our heads around. There's a lot more boilerplate that we need to write. Uh, I guess you do get to keep the code in Rust as opposed to writing SQL, and there is arguments for something like that, but I don't know. However, still I do enjoy SQLX. I've actually helped people remove their caches and improve app performance. That always sucks when a scaling method actually hurts things. I do remember I was chatting with another senior architect a while back, and we were chatting about different like scaling methods, and I think we counted at the time 6 or so different scaling strategies and this is all technical scaling strategies, because there's also business scaling or team scaling or whatever. That's all different. But for like technical code scaling possibilities or like strategies, you if you choose the wrong one, you make things slower. Like I remember not too long after that, I went to work for a company that had a horrifically slow system, and it turned out that they had tried to implement some scaling strategies on it and chose a caching system that was the caching system itself was not implemented poorly, but because they used the caching system, they caused them to have to make a different decision on the front end to hit their back end server in a different way, and that was actually causing slowness. And then also they used a queue that was the wrong type of queue that was causing actually exponentially more work for their servers for every user. So like after 6 users, it was already hammering a pretty small server. That was pretty bad. The cache invalidation was never atomic enough and never could close the gap on leaking stale results. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, cache invalidation. There's that joke, right? That like cache invalidation and naming things are like the 2 hardest things. And yeah, cache invalidation is like one of those, if you don't get it right, really like it's not that it's hard, but it's also hard to tell that it's even happening sometimes, because you get inconsistent results and you're like, do we have a race condition? No, we just have cache invalidation, which is not necessary. Like, it's like a cousin to race. Cousin to race? That doesn't sound good. Cousin to race conditions. Cache invalidation, naming, and regex. Now you have 3.0001 problems. No, that's a float problem. That's a 0.0. That's a 1. What is it? Like a 1.01 plus a 2.01 prob. Okay. This will give us some nice contextual messages if we run into any errors. Okay, great. So that gives us this main library here. And now, so let's call this. Okay, so let's call this connection function in our show species command. Okay, so then we'll just unwrap it. Perfect. I guess I could leave it like that. That's fine. Okay, so now it's time to write our query. write our first query. Let's see. We could put the entire query in the in this command. So in the command, but it's often a good idea to put the queries to the database in their own location. In this project, we'll be creating a queries directory. Okay, so in this project, we'll be creating a queries directory and a query file for each for pets and species each. So let's create the files for this, and then we'll show this off. So in here we can take queries, touch mod.rs, pets.rs, species.rs. That being said, pets, let's actually call this like pets queries, because we also have like pets. We also have like pets, the schema. So pets queries.rs, species queries.rs. And if we LT, if we look at that here, we can now see here we have these queries. Come on, let me select all of you. Okay, and we're going to do some fun. So first off, I don't care about, I guess like the bin stuff is perfectly fine. I don't need create species in there yet, but the run migrations and run seeds we have in there. This is all showing, okay, this is all fine with that. Ooh, nope, that didn't work out. Okay, words at a time work with this. Wait, no, it doesn't work. Dang it. Oh, because some of them have the size there. Oh, that sucks. Okay, hold on. I need to start up here. This is where I need it to be. What? What? There we go. That's what I wanted. Now we see a nice little tree of all all the files. Was this command ls patri? Oh yeah, let's take a look. It's alias lt. I'm using erd for this, so that's the command. Also, Anshul, hello. How are you doing today? That name hurts. Yeah, some of these names are interesting, and I have no idea where they're coming from or like why they're called that. But yeah, I got that. I feel that too. but it works and it does what it's supposed to do. So I'm happy with it. Okay, so time to write our first query. We can put the entire query in the command, but it's often a good idea to put the queries to the database in their own location. In this project, we'll be creating a queries directory and a query file for pets and species each. Don't forget to mod the queries and each query files. So we'll do lib.rs first. I kind of like to use have the pubs be up top. So we'll do pub mod. What is queries? Oh, come on. Just because I don't have that here. And then queries, pets queries. And queries, species queries. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, so let's see. What's the other one? The other one is species queries. And then oh, well, I don't actually need to put anything into there. Never mind. I know what I was thinking of. We'll come back to that first. So, okay, so now that we have that, for our first query, let's see. Let's add the Oh, it's the tree in Elden Ring. Oh, I remember. I think you mentioned that last time we talked about the name of ERD, right? Erd? I've never played Elden Ring. I don't own it either. I do enjoy some Dark Souls, but I've never actually completed any of those games. But I want to. It's just like time. That's what I need. Time. Angela, you're doing good. You're watching on your TV. You just bought an Amazon Fire Stick. Nice. You haven't played Elden Ring either. I try, like, because I want to play it at some point in time, I try not to watch anybody else play it because, hey, I don't like it. I don't like to play games where I sort of like know everything that's going to happen. So because of that, I don't really know much about Elden Ring besides it's an open world. Apparently there's a giant tree named Erd, and it's a Dark Souls game. So therefore it's Dark Souls and there's fire pits or things, and you die a lot. And horses. I think there's horses. But none of that is, all that's besides the point. Okay, so let's add the let's create a function. So let's create a function for getting all species. Okay, so get all species. We want to take in a database connection. So we can call this PG, and this is going to be a mutable reference to a PG connection. We're going to return a result, which we've decided is this error result. And the type is going to be a vector of species, which is from the models, and that. Okay. Let's create a function for getting all species. We'll be doing this in the species queries file. This function takes in the PG connection, and will return a result. Return a result. We'll return a result with the with a vector of species. Note that the species are that the species type is the model that we created. Okay, so we're good to go there. It looks like they try to make another Dark Souls, but have the Ice and Fire guy write an unfinished plot for it. I know a lot of Dark Souls players that prefer Dark Souls over Elden Ring purely because of flavor. The mechanics are otherwise fine. I've heard that the mechanics for Elden Ring are really good. It's gotten a lot of people that are not Dark Souls players into that sort of Dark Souls universe, and then they go into Dark Souls from there. Okay, this function takes in the PG connection and will return a result with a vector of species. Note that the species type is the model that we created earlier. Okay. The model that we created earlier. So I guess, like, what's the next thing? The next thing is just to get them all. So, the next thing, let's go into here. Let's just do this like one thing at a time. So we need to get the DSL. So use schema. So yeah, how do I want to do this? I think, okay, so use create schema species DSL species. Okay. So we do that, and then we can do species select, and then we're going to use the species table as select, and then load, and then this gets a vec of the thing, and then we hand it the DB, give it a context, getting all species, and that's it. So this one first. Okay, so to begin writing the query, we need to get access to a special Domain specific language. So to a special domain specific language called DSL. We can do this with the command like that. Okay, so use create schema species DSL species. Okay. So if I remember correctly, diesel documentation, so like I've actually tried doing this outside of the methods, and it's been perfectly fine. That being said, the guides did say to always put it inside the function. And I haven't been able to find anything saying like why it should be inside the function as opposed to outside. Yeah, so they do a star here. Maybe that's why. The use self schema post DSL line imports a bunch of aliases that we can say post instead of post table and published instead of post published. It's useful when we're only dealing with a single table, but that's not always what we want. It's always important to keep imports to schema table DSL inside of the current function to prevent polluting the module namespace. So yeah, so like I'm of the mind that we don't even need to necessarily put that in there. Like we can add in this and then everything works as expected, but I'm not doing a star here. So I'm not going to pull it in everything that we have. Because if we take a look at this, we have ID, name, and species is just now in the main space. And then if I ever want, because like ID, name, and species, well, our pets also have ID, name, and species, which kind of sucks. So, I can definitely see a reason why you might want to, yeah, to keep this in here. So I think we will keep it in here for right now, but we have to mention this. So to begin writing a query, we need to get access to a special domain-specific language called DSL. We can do this with a command, use create DSL. We should create this inside the function. Since okay, so inside the function. Right now, we're only pulling in the species table itself. However, there is also the ID and name columns that are available. Since the pets table has its own DSL, and it or I guess like since pets is also available, since the pets table is also since the pets table and columns are also available in DSL, and they share the same name, share similar names, it's a good idea to try to keep them as separated as possible. Okay, so we have that one, and now we can write our query. So did I put that in there? I did. So I have that. Now we can write our query, beginning with the DSL table species. Okay, so beginning with DSL species, calling select. Okay, so now we can write our query. Let's just throw this in here. Okay, let's go over this step by step. You begin with the DSL table species. And call the method select on it. We can, okay, so we use the model species to run the as select function, which tells, I guess, like, which sets the select. Okay, which sets the select to get all of the fields. This is equivalent to okay, so let's show I also want to make sure that this is working as expected. So let's go back into show species. We do that. Let our species was this get all species? Get all species. And at the DB. Unwrap you. And let's print line. Okay, so now when I run, like that, it's what's the problem? Show species. Did I forget? Have I forgotten? How do I thought. No, it's not semicolon. What am I forgetting? To do this like debug mode. I thought it was that. Oh wait, this isn't in a quote. Yeah, that would do it. Never mind. Okay, so I had this syntax right. I had this syntax wrong. All right, so save you. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, so we get all the species printed out like that nicely. So if we come back to you, oh no, I want to now come back to you and let's comment you out and we'll do another select. And I want to now select specific fields in here. So for example, if we, because I can do it from the model, but I'm also wondering if I can also do this from like ID and name. So if I select, I think it has to be, I can't remember if I can do this. No, I have to be a tuple. So tuple of ID and name. Okay. And then if I leave off, let's say the name for some reason, and I just want the IDs, you are unhappy. Why are you unhappy? The trait-bound species creable integer PG is not satisfied. Oh, right, because this isn't a species anymore. Oh, yeah. This would have to be an I32, like that. And now we get you. So that's what that is. Okay, so okay, so functions, we use the model species to run the asSelect function with select to get all of the fields. This is equivalent to, okay, so actually I want the real equivalent is still you being a species. We get name. So this is ID name like that. Okay. This is equivalent to get all species like this. As we can guess. So if we wanted to not get every part of the species, we could select only what we want. For example, if we just wanted to get the strings, the names, then we could leave out the ID, the ID field from the .select method. Don't forget to change the function return type to match. Okay, so then in this case, we have I32 times 1, not a type. We want you like that, you go away, and then we do another select ID. Did I say name? I wanted name. So string. Change name. You become name. Like that. What? Oh, there actually is a SIMD. Okay, never mind. We're not using that type anyways. This is fine. We'll copy just to make sure this is still working. There we go. Okay, get all species. So now we have a name. And I think for each of these, I could remove this, select like that, remove you, and we're all good to go. Okay. Why is everyone so obsessed with AI lately? I mean, people have been obsessed with AI for the last couple of years, but it has seemed to gotten, I think ever since the Devon demo released, is that like a year ago now? Half a year ago? That was a while ago. Ever since the Devon demo was released, there has been way more sort of discussion on like, oh, AI is going to be replacing people. And so like you get the arguments back and forth with AI is ready to replace you and AI is not ready to replace you. I'm solidly on the camp where AI is not ready to replace us. AI is not going to be ready to replace us for a long time, but AI is ready to supplement us. However, if you're a developer, you're going to be able to get that head start on AI. And I think that there's also an argument there of like people saying, oh, we don't need developers anymore. We can just use these tools that these bigger companies are giving us. But I don't know. I'm a big fan of us potentially playing around and learning AI in order to use it ourselves. And it might eventually help us replace others. I'm one of those who are believing like, are we sure that the developers that are going to be replaced? I don't know. Maybe because I'm biased because I am a developer, but also I don't know. We'll be able to do some really cool stuff to stay on the bleeding edge if we wanted to. Okay, so we get all species here. Okay, so let's get all species. Let's set this back to getting the entire species and model. And then call this from the command. So we call it from the command. So okay, we want to get back. So let's go species back to here. I like you method. I will keep these two in there, but I'll comment you out. And we don't need the name. We just need species like that. And then, okay, so we save you, head back to show species. We get all the species, and let's like print this out nicely, right? So we're gonna do a get all the okay. So let's set this back to getting the entire species and model, and then call this from the command. Okay, so get species. So for species in species. That doesn't sound right. For I really hate. I guess I could do a for each in here, but I don't know if I necessarily want to go over that. So for species, oh, you know what? We just destructure this, don't we? Because I think we can get ID and name. Oh, wait, is that true? for s in species. No, because it's a struct like this. Wasn't there a way that I can destructure with a struct? That might be even more. Species ID name. Something like that. Where now I can like print line and say something like ID name. All right, so let me see if I remember this correctly. It's I think 4 per, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4 for the name, and then we want the ID. Oh, probably tab, and then name. Yeah, I think, okay, so that does work there. And so if we call this now, we have oh, I don't actually want the title out here. I want that out here. That was silly of me. Let's see. I also want that to be out here. There, that looks much better. And I miscalculated this wrong. So it is way more of these. Up by 4. Oh, so it's like, oh, I think I get it. It was 4 for the ID. Yeah, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4 for the ID, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the tab, 1, 2, 3, 4 for name. There we go. And now that adds in here exactly like this. All right, perfect. I will probably not, because we only had cat, squirrel, and dog and our seeds. So I'll just ignore the others. Although I could just reset the database too, and that would be fine, and nobody would care. Okay, so we print this out. Now that we have the species, let's loop through them and print out the ID and names nicely. So that is that. Let's see. So note the what did I do? Oh, I didn't. I know what I did. I'd copied to the. I did the wrong type of copy. Okay, so note the species ID name. This is destructuring the ID and name out of the species. So we don't need to create a new variable to hold species like s or something like that. Okay, so we have you. The entire show species.rs file looks like Okay, looks like that. Let's run this and see our species printed out. There we go. Okay, so cargo run, bin, show species, compiling, finished, running. Okay, so we have ID name, cat, squirrel, dog. We get rid of you two. And we get rid of you. Okay, there we go. And there we have it. We have created. We have a query to get all species. Try repeating the same. Okay, try repeating the same. Try repeating. Now try writing a command. Show pets to display all of the pets. Don't worry about joins yet. Just want to see all of the pet info on the as the output. Okay, so we just want to see all the pet info as the output of this command, like okay, let's do this ourselves. So we have where am I? Sleep in. I don't have a show pet, so we're gonna do that ourselves. Let's talk. Hello, how are you doing today? Let's see, Diablo. Like simple example, AI outputs 3 args for a call to a function that takes 4 args. AI would be induced to output exactly 4 if he had a framework to keep it on the rails. I have, I mean, we not long ago we did the AI hashing algorithm challenge, which I thought was that was a lot of fun and sort of where I'm feeling that a lot of AI stuff is right now, where it's a little bit better if you use AI for really fun, quirky, weird stuff. But then like eventually it's going to become good as a tool eventually. Until then, we can do really weird, crazy stuff that you would never want to do in real life for some laughs, giggles, fun activities. But then in the process, we learn a lot how it works. And then when it comes to time to actually use it for real, we have a step up on it. Doing good? Just enjoying the stream? Well, thank you. I'm glad you're doing good. Okay, so let's touch show pets.rs. And we will go pets. We're going to do the exact same thing over here. So function main. All right. So first off, we're going to get the environment variables. So .env. I don't know. My brain was like, what do I put in here? Unwrap or expect? What do I want to do? And it was like, just like sitting there cycling on that for way too long. Okay, so expect missing whoa. I don't need to shout this at the user. Missing environment variable database URL. Okay, so we have you. After the database URL, we have our DB equals connected DB. So unwrap you. Okay, so we do our database connection. We have you. I want our. Okay, so I did the WQ again. I don't need to do that. Show pets. Okay, so we have you. Let's now go to pets queries, and we'll have a pub function get all pets. Take in a DB, which is a mutable reference to a PG connection. Return a result with a vec of pet. We also use create schema pets DSL pets. And then we're going to return, okay, pets, that select, pet as select, load DB, getting all pets, we've got you, show pets, all pets is now going to be get all pets, and at the DB. We will reference the DB, and we can unwrap you. Let's do our print line. So we're going to have the ID, tab, pets, print line. We will do 1, 2, 3, 4 for the ID, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the tab, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the pets. And then we'll do a for pets, for pet ID name, species ID. Species ID in all pets. And we'll do a print line. We have ID, tab. ID. Let's do pet name, tab, species ID. Okay, so hold on. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think. I was just sort of trying to like follow along the letters while typing them out. I don't know. I don't know if I did that right. Okay, so your ID, tab, name, tab, species ID. Okay. Why are you upset? Oh, we had last fed in here. I totally forgot we had last fed. Okay, so T last fed. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then LAST space FED. Okay. Last fed. Last fed. Okay, excellent. We have you. You don't know how to. Oh, because you're an option naive date time. How do I want to display this? What do you look like if I just debug print you? Yeah, because it's an option. All right. I don't want to have to do anything special of like, we're teaching you how to do a fun print line that doesn't do a new line and we do some other fun stuff. Yeah, we don't need to do that. Pierre, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, cargo run, bin, show pets. Okay, so I was hoping because these go outside the tab stop, so that's not. The last fed is none for all of them, and the species ID is off by these two. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So if I do ID name, I don't want to have to like do counting or other stuff to make this look nice. And I don't want to pull in a library, like a crate to do this too. If I do 2 tabs, that's great for everything except Fat Gus. That's not what I want. Okay, fine. Let's. How do I want to do this? Maybe, you know what? Maybe we do. I just get rid of this. We're gonna have to get rid of the other example too. And then because they won't be lined up properly, so we'll just do ID. We'll just do dashes. For you, I can put you in parentheses. And then I can do fed like that. Okay. All right, much better. And then we'll come back to this after we do joins. Okay, so I want to change you now. So the output looks similar. So we'll get rid of you. We'll get rid of the tab and we'll just do ID name like that. So we have pets, show species. Like that. Yes. That's what I want to see. So we'll get, yeah, through dog. Okay, you're good there, which means you grab you. Where's my dollar? There you are. We'll be like that. There we go. Okay. Pierre, SQL X is very good. Diesel 2. I do like SQL X a lot. SQL X is great. All right, so try running a command, show pets to display all the pets. Don't worry about the joins yet. We just want to see all the pet info as the output of this command, like. It's like, it should be something like that, okay? And then finally, I think we can just say okay. here's the full code for the pets queries. Why did I just suddenly forget how to spell queries? That's not great. Pets query. What was I spelling that before? Yeah, QE. Why does that somehow feel wrong to me? It's like, I don't know. It's like that thing where you're just like going through and then suddenly the spelling doesn't feel right anymore and then it's all over. Like you need a full reset at that point in time. Okay, so here's the full code for the pets queries and show pets.rs files. Okay, we got you. And then finally, show pets. All right. So, as mentioned, we'll be returning to get all pets when we cover joins later in the course. All right, there we go. So we got that. Okay, so I think we're pretty good with this one. Let's go ahead and commit this stuff. We don't have any. Oh, I do have some errors. Why do I have an error? Oh, I have an error in create pets. Yeah. Yep, that would do it. Okay, and those are the only two warnings too. So that's not that big of a deal. So let's get add. Oh, I'm not even like tracking that yet. So let's get add show pets and also queries. And we can commit and say, what are we saying with this? I guess like this is companion code for get lesson. Lesion lesson. Okay, that's up there. Let's read through this and make sure it looks good. Getting all items with Diesel. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to query all items from the database with a Diesel model. Code. You can find the code for this lesson on GitHub. Content. Setting up the bin command. We'll be setting up a bin command for showing all pets and species. Since we've already seeded the database, we won't need to worry about creating a new species just yet. In the source directory of our project, we'll create a bin directory and a file named show species. Files inside the bin directory are special. Cargo assumes that they will be called with the cargo run -- bin show species command, and therefore they are somewhat like examples. They need a main function. Since we also need a database connection, we'll add in a boilerplate for getting the database URL environment variable. Okay. We have that. In another bin command, we've already connected to the database, but we can't access code from another bin command. Since we've connected already, or since we've already connected. I feel like it should be that. Since we've already connected multiple times, and we have several more to go, let's add a function to the live.rs file to connect to the database. We'll be using the error crate for handling the errors. Okay, so we do that. Note that we're converting the result type from the establish method to the error result via the context method. This will give us some nice contextual messages if we run into any errors. Let's call this connection function in our show species command. Okay, you can go all the way back. Now it's time to write our first query. We can put the entire query in the command, but it's often a good idea to put the queries to the database in their own location. In this project, we'll be creating a queries directory and a query file for pets and species each. So we show that. Don't forget Don't forget to mod the queries and each query files. Mod the query directory and each query file. Okay, so we have live.rs for that and queries mod.rs. Let's create a function for getting all species. We'll be doing this in the species queries.rs file. Okay, this function takes in the PG connection and will return a result with a vector of species. Note that the species type is the model that we created earlier. To begin writing the query, we need to get access to a special domain-specific language called DSL. We can do this with the command use crate schema species DSL species. We should create this inside the function. Right now, we're only pulling in the species table itself. However, there's also the ID and name columns that are available. Since this pets table and columns are also available in DSL, they share similar names, it's a good idea to try to keep them as separated as possible. The DSL is called DSL. Well, yeah, that's a good call out. I mean, maybe I just don't call it DSL. So we just to a special module called DSL that's available for each table. To begin writing the query, we need to get access to a special module called DSL that's available for each table. We can do this with the command use crate schema species DSL species. We should create this inside the function. Right now we're only, I don't know if I like that because I'm also then grabbing like inside of the DSL. So we need to get access to the table inside a special, okay, how about that? Yeah, but I think I can just like not even put in that it's a domain specific language at all. And I think that'll be fine too. To begin writing the query, we need to get access to the table inside a special module called DSL that's available for each table. We can do this with the command use crate schema species DSL species. We should create this inside the function. Right now, we're only pulling in the species table itself. However, there's also the ID and name columns that are available. Since the pets table and columns are also available in DSL, and they share similar names, it's a good idea to try to keep them as separated as possible. Now we can write our query. Okay, so we species, select, load, context. Let's go over this step by step. We begin with the DSL. Okay, so we begin with the table species and call the method select on it. We use the model species to run the asSelect function. Oh. To run the asSelect function, which sets the select to get all of the fields. This is equivalent to, and I get those. If we wanted to not get every part of the species, I don't like the negative. Okay, so if we only wanted to get some columns of species from the species table, then we could select then we could we can pass in a tuple. Okay, then we can pass in only what we want. Pass in just the column names, the columns that we want. For example, if we just wanted to get the names, then we can leave out the ID field from the select method. Don't forget to change the function type to return to match. Let's set this back to getting the entire species and model, and then call this from the command. Now that we have the species, let's loop through them and print out the ID and names nicely. So we're not doing that anymore. You're going down like that. And I think you changed to that. Note the species ID name. This is destructuring the ID and name out of the species model or struct. So we don't need to create a new variable to hold species like S or something like that. The entire show species RS file now looks like, and then I need to update you again. Okay, let's run this and see our species printed out. So there we go. And there we have it. We have a query to get all species. Try writing a command show pets.rs to display all of the pets. Before looking at the solution below. Don't worry about joins yet. We just want to see all of the pet info as the output of this command, which should be something like, and then we have that. Here's the full code for the pets queries and show pets RS files. All right, so then there we go. We have you. Everything's good. We'll be returning to get all pets. Yeah, okay, so we'll be returning to get all pets. To the get all pets function and the show pets command when we cover joins later in the course. There. I think that's good. So because of that, we can now switch back over to README and we can mark read all as done. Okay, so Probably read run makes sense after that. And then we'll do create insert and printing the SQL for debugging. Perhaps this could go actually next because it's like, hey, we now have the SQL. Let's go ahead and print the SQL for debugging just in case. That being said, it's 11:30. We end normally, within 12. I don't know if I want to like set everything up right now. So I actually think I might give myself a little break and end a little bit early today. Go grab some lunch and warm myself up because my hands are feeling cold. So with that, thank you everybody for hanging out with me today. I don't know what the schedule next week is going to be. The plan is, my plan normally is to create the schedule on the weekend, and then I announce that into the Discord channel. So with that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all next time. Bye.